We spend years, sometimes a lifetime, chasing things that don't really make us happy. The problem is, we're really bad at predicting what brings happiness. So instead of wasting our time, why don't we just ask science? Fortunately, the field of positive psychology is filled with research on this topic, and today we'll go over some of the most important findings. Then at the end, I'll share some action items you can follow, so it'll be easier for you to make lasting changes moving forward. I really like how researcher Sonia Lyubomirsky defines it: the experience of joy, contentment, or positive well-being combined with a sense that one's life is good, meaningful, and worthwhile. This definition captures the positive emotions that are often fleeting and are hedonistic, as well as the sense of a deeper life purpose, or as Aristotle put it, eudaimonia. What's important to know is that these fleeting emotions and the sense of meaning often enhance each other, but the distinction is still important. There are quite a few surprising facts in this category, but let's start with the most controversial one: money. According to the famous 2010 study conducted by Nobel Prize-winning economist Kahneman and Deaton, emotional well-being rises with income, but only up until your salary reaches $75,000 US. Or if you factor in inflation, that's $89,117 in 2020. This looks like the law of diminishing returns, but there is a distinction. What's often missed when people refer to this popular study is the part about perceived life satisfaction. See, that variable just seems to continue to increase as you make more and more. On the other end of the spectrum, predictably, low income exacerbates hardships and decreases happiness. My takeaway from the research in this area was to focus on making that minimum amount, as well as having a good investment plan, and not really obsessing over the rest. Yes, it might bring a greater sense of accomplishment and satisfaction to become a multimillionaire, but it really isn't my priority. Mainly because there are other avenues to reach higher life satisfaction with much less stress and more certainty. Now, you may disagree. Perhaps you have goals to retire early and volunteer, or maybe you have more stoic principles and you believe you don't need much money at all. But only you can make that choice for yourself, and hopefully being informed about the possible outcomes will help. Something else that many people believe will bring us great happiness is our looks. We obsess over our weights, our cup size, hairlines, pores, nail beds. It just never ends. But you might be glad to find out that research suggests that improving your physical features doesn't necessarily correlate with more happiness. Now, I'm sure being a 10 is a privilege and would open many doors, but at least now we know that changing our own appearance will not have a considerable effect on long-term life satisfaction. So might as well just be a little kinder to yourself in the mirror next time. Along the same vein, having cool things like a big house with a nice pool, a high-end car, or the latest and greatest sneakers don't seem to contribute to happiness either. In fact, the research suggests that concentrating on all these things you want and being materialistic decreases your well-being. The problem is that you get used to these things, and the hedonic treadmill makes you want an even bigger house, an even better wardrobe. So instead, try focusing on investing in meaningful experiences rather than materials. How about finding love? I was really surprised to find out that research in this area shows that people who find a long-term partner are initially happier for a few years, but they then go back to their baseline levels. So the honeymoon phase is real, but in the long term, you'll only be as happy with your partner as you were before you met them. Now that we got some misconceptions out of the way, let's take a look at what we should be focusing on for a happier life. This one is probably the most important tip from this video. The research suggests that for extroverts and introverts alike, being socially connected makes us happier, and every interaction counts. Now, you might hate small talk as much as I do, but research suggests that even superficial interactions can give you a boost. Of course, this is much harder in 2020 during these strange times, but if you can, make an effort to seek out more social connection. In normal times, this can look like striking up a conversation with a stranger on the metro, grabbing lunch with a friend, or asking the barista what made them smile that day. And while physically distancing, you can set up Zoom calls with your friends and family or propose a virtual water cooler meeting with your coworkers where you're just talking without an agenda as you normally would in the office. So the tagline of Aegean Delight is to savor life's delights for a reason. In addition to savoring delicious plant-based foods, I also want you to make an effort to savor life in general. This basically means being aware of and really appreciating the good things as they're happening to you by stepping out of your experience. The practice of savoring keeps you right here in the moment, it increases gratitude, and impedes hedonic adaptation. So to put this into practice, next time you're having a positive experience, stop and analyze what about that moment makes you happy. Afterwards, feel free to snap a photo if you want a vivid memory of it to look back on, but don't worry about posting it on social media. Exhibiting pro-social behaviors like kindness can make you very happy. From an evolutionary lens, this makes perfect sense because generally doing good for others also strengthens your social connection. You could commit to doing at least one random act of kindness a day. It can be something like volunteering your time or donating blood or money, but you could also simply send someone a thank you note or give someone a compliment. I'm sure you've heard of the benefits of gratitude before. It can sound cringeworthy, but try and keep a gratitude journal and write 5 things on it for 5 minutes every day. This journal can be a nice notebook, or you can do it digitally. I personally love using Evernote because it's so easy. It'll probably feel a little forced in the beginning, so try to think of unique things if you can. Being grateful for your family and your health would be amazing, but you can also be grateful for things like the smell of freshly cut grass or things that we take for granted, like functioning sewage infrastructure. It's simple. Either completely get off social media, which can be difficult to do in this day and age, or unfollow accounts that make you feel like you're not enough. I recently started following only my close friends and some cute animal accounts on Instagram, and it feels so much better. There's growing literature on the benefits of meditation, from showing how it improves our immune response to how it slows down age-related thinning of the cerebral cortex. But my reason for meditating each day is a little different. It's simply the fact that meditation can significantly reduce the half-life of your negative emotions. Anecdotally, I can certainly attest to this. I've been practicing for a few years now, and whenever I stop for a few days, I just don't feel as happy. Meditation can teach you to identify your thoughts, good or bad, and simply letting them be. You'll recognize how thoughts can lose their power that way as you get closer and closer to equanimity. I think this is a superpower within our grasp, and a consistent 10 minutes a day is all you need. My favorite app for this is called Waking Up, and I'll leave a link down below where you can get a month for free. What's amazing about this app is that the founder believes that wealth should not be a barrier between you and meditation. So if you try and end up sticking with it but can't afford payments, then they'll give you a free subscription for as long as you need it. How thoughtful is that? If you can, set aside some time, ideally at least 30 minutes a day for moderate exercise. This can boost your mood while making your body healthier. You don't have to be training for a marathon or bikini competition. This can be as simple as dancing in your living room or walking at a faster than usual pace. Sleep deprivation is a real problem, and we're not paying enough attention to it. In addition to hindering your longevity, this recognized global epidemic can also make you feel blue. So try your best and prioritize sleep, getting at least 7 or 8 or even 9 hours if you can. But there's so much more to sleep than the quantity, so please let me know if you'd like to see an in-depth video about improving sleep hygiene and quality. Turns out, a healthy diet can improve your mood and reduce the odds of depression. A 2014 meta-analysis concluded that a plant-based diet worked best for this purpose, so I'd highly recommend increasing your vegetable and fruit intake, as well as perhaps participating in Meatless Mondays if you realistically don't see yourself going fully plant-based. So apparently, if you listen to relaxing and pleasant Renaissance music, you may be able to reduce anxiety. The researchers think that this is likely a function of the tempo rather than the specific genre you choose. Personally, I don't follow this advice unless I really need to calm down. I mean, if you enjoy black metal or electronic music or angry jazz, go and listen to that. Do what makes you happy. So, what will you do with all this information? Unfortunately, many of us suffer from what's called a G.I. Joe fallacy, where we mistakenly think that knowing is half the battle. But research suggests that knowing only makes up a tiny portion of the final result. So now that you're aware of this possible fallacy and you know more or less what will and will not make you happy, it's time to put all this into practice. I made a downloadable PDF for you containing each item we covered. It'll help you plan for applying this into your daily life with some bonus tips on making habits last. So go ahead and print it out to start feeling a little bit happier. Thanks for watching, and until we meet again in the next video, be well.